Hello.
Yo, 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 yo.
Yo, what's up, dude?
What's up? Doing good. How about you?
I'm chilling. Just been working all day, super hard on the game. The classic game dev grind. But I'm hyped to do this lesson. So, all right. So what are we doing today
We
exactly?
watching Fox Puff.
Mm-hmm.
I finally have a puff to grind, so that's pretty good.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. I don't know if you know Amida.
No,
He's like
who?
a pretty Amida. I don't know how to
I
pronounce his
have
name.
heard. I have seen and heard of that
Yeah.
name. Yeah.
He now lives in Peru, so we are like grinding every day. So I finally have like puff games. I did some analysis by myself, but I feel like I just kind of go in this mode when I'm like losing, and I say like, "Huh, I want to hit him," and then I
Mm-hmm.
10 times hit him by bears. I'm like, "What the fuck's going on now?" And I just explode. I did
Uh-huh.
win
Okay.
like most games last like session. He did beat me the final best of five.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but mostly I feel like I just get like way too desperate, and it's like, oh, I just gonna hit him, dude,
Mm-hmm.
and I just get like destroyed because of it.
Okay. All right. Do you have or this is the screen share working?
Yeah, it's working.
Okay, great. Let's just start off on the first one, and I'll see what I see here. Okay, looks okay so far.
Yeah.
Not
I don't know how to recognize most spots where I just can get just like under and just full up bear. I'm starting to do like run cancel up tilt if I can recognize it from a
mm-hmm.
long distance. But I'm not like super consistent at recognizing the situations, so I just don't do it like most of the time.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I was looking at already.
It's mostly because it's like the first time playing Puff like in my whole life, so I'm just like really new in this spots.
Oh, dude, I totally get you. They're like literally, I did not know this matchup until Summit 9 when Drug Fox taught it to
Wow.
me because there are no puffs in region. So I
Yeah.
just went my whole career not knowing the matchup. I barely took one tournament off Toussaint, and that was like the first time I had ever practiced against Puff. Was like I stayed at Toussaint's house in like literally 2019 and played like one night of practice against Puff, and then at Summit 9 Drug Fox like taught me a bunch about the matchup, and then since then I feel like a lot more comfortable with it. Like when I watch, and that was like before like the Cody H box analysis and stuff like that. So now I feel like I'm really good at understanding this matchup. But like not having a puff in your region or like a puff practice partner makes
Yeah.
this like it's such a weird matchup that it's completely foreign.
I mean, I do have some puffs, but I can just win just like running at them.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
like,
no, like
oh,
literally, it's like I had like basically there's like 95% of puffs where like I was able to like almost JV5 them like
yeah.
by
I
just
get you.
you just play reactively, and then you're like, oh, this is easy, and then you just beat them. But then the good puffs, all that goes out the window. So
Yeah, they just like do the shitty like bear in front of you and just get like the juiciest up throw, upper,
uh-huh,
upper,
yeah,
upper.
they just do the
Yeah.
dumbest stuff, and you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
you're gonna full hop nair and full drift at me. So I up tilt, and
Yeah.
they're like, oh, ow, that hurt. I'll try it again. And you're like, oh, okay, just keep
Then
doing
I
that
play with
then.
this guy and I just try to grab his shitty bears and I just get reversals. It's like, come on.
Okay, so this was one thing that I want to mention. So so this is a thing I got from Drug Fox, and it's the idea of like basically imagine that wherever Puff is, whenever she's in the air, there is a cone underneath her, which is like her maximum drift. And this exists obviously for all characters. If you're trying to dash dance, grab a Falco full hop or whatever, all of these or a Fox full hop, the concept of like what how far the character can drift is always relevant for every matchup. But Puff is like her only thing, and a lot of times with the other characters, like the amount that Fox can drift forward out of his full hop or Sheik can is like pretty small, you know.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
like it's not usually that relevant. Puff, obviously, completely, massively relevant. So the thing to keep in mind and to always be visualizing in this matchup is that, like, the lower to the ground she is, the less space this sort of cone right here covers. So when she's higher up, the cone is bigger. And so she can cover more horizontal space quickly the higher up she is. And that's kind of like a big deal, because when she's on the ground, if she like short hop aerials and goes her full distance, she can't really get that far. And so while she's on the ground, you can comfortably laser from like a decent distance, and there's no pressure on you at all. But then this situation happens. So Puff is grounded here, and you want lasers. So you get a couple lasers right here. This is totally fine. But then what happens is Puff gets up to this height, where now that she's all the way up here, you need to not laser anymore. Because now her cone extends all this way and she can get you. And so what happens is, even though... So she could have committed all the way in and hit you here. Mm-hmm. But instead, she like... They drifted back a little bit right here, you know? And so they sort of like decided at the last second they're not going to attack you. And so that is the only reason why you didn't get hit here. But basically, this is just an example of like why Puff goes... Like, so basically when Puff goes up, you stop lasering. Mm-hmm. When Puff comes down, feel free to laser. That is like kind of like a universal concept. Like, now that she's up, don't jump again to laser, because you'll be vulnerable. And the concept of this cone sort of like expands to every other part of the matchup, but I'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah. Wow, scary.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm... Okay, now it all comes to like downfall. Once I get rested and he's just like starting like not interacting, I feel like there's where I just like crumbled.
Okay.
I just get destroyed by him. Because I'm super good when I have like the lead, because he just like gets desperate and tries to hit me.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, this matchup is really easy to play from a lead on the Fox side, because you're like, oh, like Puff can't approach. Like, that's kind of Puff's issue in like every matchup, is that like if she gets the lead, she's like really strong because of her camping. But then when she loses the lead, she's really bad.
Yeah.
So it makes her like this really volatile character for that reason. Okay, so let's see what order should I do this in. Let's see. Okay, I'm just gonna I'm gonna go and finish this game. There's like a few things that like need to be mentioned in general, and I can kind of just get into them at any point. So I'm just gonna go through this game first, and we'll talk about like what you might have started doing like differently than what you were already doing, because you're saying you're kind of crumbled. But then like we need to go back later and just go over like some basic situations with Puff.
Okay.
Okay, so you get rested.
I don't know how to do rest punishes. That's like the biggest issue ever.
Nah, don't worry about it. Like, this is pretty much as good as you can get on Puff. Like, actually getting this up air back air grab is like significantly better than you will get the majority of the time.
Alright.
Like, if Fox is, you know, it's funny. I don't know. It's just always interesting to me where it's like if she misses a rest right next to Fox, he has like the easiest rest punish out of like almost all the characters, like out of all the top tiers at least for sure. Where like you just laser up smash or whatever. And that's really easy. But then like when he comes back, he doesn't really have a lot of good stuff. But the thing is almost no one has a really good punish on rest. Like especially when she's like at 0, I don't think there's any character really that's super good at it. So like don't beat yourself up for missing a rest punish when you die out of the rest. And like if you come back and you get like literally like up tilt into one aerial, that is about all you should expect.
Okay.
Or up air into aerial, whatever, same thing.
Alright, sick.
Ooh.
Oh, I got greedy.
Mm-hmm.
Pain.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, no, that definitely unfortunate.
Oh. Oh. Puppy. I'll finish. Sick.
Yeah. So those are easy. You don't need help on that.
Yeah.
Nice and easy to know to up smash there.
Here comes the pound. Any moment now. Oh, sick. Oh.
Yeah, almost really sick. I do like that.
Oh, that feels sus. Here comes the pound. Oh.
Okay, the dash dances there are pretty good.
Yeah, I'm trying to bait out pounds because he throws up some shitty ass pounds sometimes. So.
Mm-hmm. No, that's good.
Especially when
All
he
the
gets
posts
like the
do.
yeah, especially when he gets like the aerial, the first one. I just insta start looking for it.
Mm-hmm. Well, because that's what the puff is looking for too.
Yeah.
Makes total sense.
Oh. Do I die here? Thank God.
Hmm.
No. Double jump. Wow.
Let's see. Can I look at that again? Hmm.
That's the stuff I'm always talking about when I just like don't have the lead. I just get like hit bare like a fuck ton of times.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
No, I saw it.
so sick. Let's go.
Oh yeah, you win this game, right?
Yeah, I won this one.
Better win this game.
Yeah, the stadium one is like so much worse here.
Okay. Okay. I'm trying to figure out exactly what order I want to do everything in, because there's a bunch to cover right now. Okay. Let's see. So. Alright, I'm just gonna go over some sort of basic stuff really quick. Because I feel like outside of everything, like obviously like you're like a good player to begin with, so like your intuitive spacing in the matchup is not that bad. A lot of it is just that you don't know the right decision. So it's like if you have like really good reflexes, but then like when the car is coming, you dive in front of the car. It doesn't really matter if your reflexes are good, you know?
Okay.
So that's kind of the impression I'm getting is you're kind of like, yeah, I'm spacing, but you space directly into what Puff wants. So
Okay.
So sorry, man. Okay, so the way for Puff to play this matchup, like I said, is like she has this full hop that she's going to spam, and then she basically gets a huge range out of the peak of this full hop. And so from here, she gets like all the way to here, pretty much, which is pretty significant from like this jump to there. And so she has one way to extend that. And so a lot of times they'll go like this, and then you're like, oh, I'll just dash back here, right? And so her solution to that is this pound. So she does the max drift, and then she does that pound. And so that, like the max drift aerial and the max drift fake aerial into the pound are like the two main things you have to worry about, like horizontally in most cases. And so because of that, like that is purely a horizontal mix-up. That is like, is Fox gonna be here, or is he gonna like go back even further, in which case I get the pound. And so the nice thing against Puff is she has basically no vertical mix-ups. Like the difference between Puff doing this fastfall fair and then like this fair with no fastfall is like you don't really deal with those that differently. Yeah. And so she has a kind of a tough time coming directly down. And so that is like kind of the first thing to think about, is that it, like if Puff is in the air, then she has this whole range that she can cover, and at the limits of that range, and not even at the limit, because she can go like this and then pound you, right? It's just basically the idea that she has like this aerial that comes out, and then she can extend on the aerial with the pound. And those are sort of like the two things you have to worry about when she's coming down. And so by that logic, the best spot you can be when the Puff jumps up is directly underneath her. because back air doesn't work, down air isn't going to go through your up tilt, and she doesn't really have any vertical like mix-up tools. Like this, like pound is a completely horizontal mix-up, and back air does not work when they're like below you. So if you get directly below Puff, that is like a really bad spot for her. And if she kind of just stays in place, you're going to do this sort of full hop back air thing that I'm sure you've seen like Cody do, where you kind of just full hop back air it. And then once you're directly underneath her, she's not going to stay in place, so when she chooses a side, you can also just get the full hop back air on the side she chooses. And you're not going to get it every time, but a lot of times that is where you'll find your opening, is like she full hops like this, because you're like, let's see, you're here, and she'll be like this, and she's going to pressure you, but then as soon as she does this, you're just underneath her, and you're getting ready to up tilt, and most of the time she'll like retreat, or something like this. And that's a lot of times where, like, while she's retreating, or while she's trying to reposition, a lot of times that's where you're going to find, like, not necessarily a bad drift, but like she'll do this, so you run underneath her, she's right here, and then she retreats this way with her double jump like this, but like you ran underneath her and she retreats, and then you just get a full hop up air like right here.
Yeah,
you know? You can kind of envision that probably.
Yeah, I've seen Left do it.
Yeah, exactly. So that is like one of these patterns that is like really important to know. Second of all is that like up air does not knock down at 0, and so you don't need to super duper watch out for up air at 0, but you do have to watch out for up air when you're over 20, because that is when it will knock down, and she'll get this stuff. So anytime you're over 20, you have to be really aware of up air. And so you have to think like, okay, so where are the spots where she's going to hit up air? And so right now, none of this is super like tying together really clearly. It's more like, these are like 4 or 5 things really quickly that are like the most important positions in the matchup. And I'm just kind of fly through them. So Puff, when she has basically 2 real ways of hitting the up air. Short hop up air is kind of useless against Fox, because he'll just like nair you through it, or if you do this, he'll full hop over the up air and then hit you. So a lot of times she's not going to be going for these up airs. It's either she'll do an up air where she kind of like, she does like this and she tries to sneak in with it, which is usually not that great against Fox anyway, because you're usually like dash dancing. And so there are most spots Puff does not really even have this falling up air that she really likes. The majority of her up airs are going to be full hop reads, where she'll be here and you're in the corner, and then she goes aha, and she gets your full hop read, and then she gets like a rest. And so
that happens.
Yeah, and so that is like her main way of like getting a kill on you. Whereas if you're in the corner and you don't get grabbed, and let's say you're holding down, she doesn't have a way to like do anything to you. Like she doesn't have like a Fox run up smash, and she doesn't have like a running shine, and she doesn't have like a Falco down air. She's just kind of forced to like, these 2 moves pretty much are like forward air, back air, dash attack, forward smash. None of these moves are really all that great, and if you're holding down, you know, even if you're at like a really high percent, you can hold down and still be pretty safe from her moves. And I'm sure you've seen like people at like 140 and Puff back airs, and they just like tech and then side B to edge or whatever. So her main threats at lower percents are, she's either going to grab you, and her grab is not that great, or she's going to get these full hop up air reads. Those are pretty much the only ways you are going to die early. So first of all, when you're stuck in the corner, the one thing you don't want to do is dash full hop. So just like remove that from your mind that you want to dash full hop out of the corner. You do not want to do that ever, because that is the primary thing. Like when Puff is here and she's doing this, she doesn't want to do this. This feels horrible. Her frame data is awful. Yeah. She does not want to, like, oh, I spaced a back air on Fox's shield. Like, man, I'm sure I'm, like, winning today. She doesn't want that. She wants to do this and then catch this. That's, like, her thing that she wants. Whereas, like, even if, like, she gets, like, an up... Like, let's say you're in the corner right here, and she gets her grab, you're just going to DI, like, here. Like, you're just going to DI all the way to the right, and she'll get, like, maybe this, or, like, maybe this, and she's not really going to get anything. So, when you're in the corner, just don't dash full hop pretty much ever. Your best option is, like, a combo of, like, shield, and then just kind of move out quickly horizontally. or go for like a ledge dash type option.
Okay.
So Puff is extremely... So we already talked about kind of like what she wants in the corner. But also, you being in the corner is her strongest state, pretty much. So a lot of these other positions, like if you just really look at it, especially if you like get Puff and you like move around or play Puff a little bit, you'll notice she really doesn't have a lot of like strong positions against Fox. Like the majority of the time she's like here and Fox is like dash dancing, and if you're Puff, it doesn't feel like you can just like drop in and do this. Like you feel like you'll get beat up a lot. So
Yeah.
so the majority of the time she's going to be moving around trying to get you into the corner, because then she has a lot easier time. Like, you know, if let's say you short hop in the corner and she back airs you, maybe you're off stage and then she gets this, you know, and she kind of is able to like pressure you there. Whereas like if you're in center and she like reads your short hop with the back air, you're just going to kind of fly over here and maybe either slide off or be too far away. So it's kind of like Peach in that sense, where like the majority of her moves are not very good when she's in the corner, because she's just kind of going to kind of hit you horizontally, and then you'll just kind of go over here and she won't be able to really do anything about it.
Okay.
So playing for central positioning is really, really important, because you don't want to end up in this spot where she's reading your full hop and then you get this thing where you shield, because you want to shield this, you want to shield this, and so she gets the grab forward throw, and then there's all kinds of madness that happens. So you're trying to avoid that by holding center, but Puff has kind of like a way to deal with that. So the funny thing is she doesn't have a way to deal with that on FD, which is why FD is so absolutely atrocious for her in this matchup.
I feel like I'm really bad on FD, just because I just like try to like fight her.
It's because you're not using the stage to your advantage.
Yeah,
really.
that's what I mean.
Because you're not
Like,
using the
just
game
fight
plan.
her. Yep.
So, okay, so just to go over the other important positions in this matchup are kind of Puff on the side plat, and specifically using the inner edge of the side plat. So I have a couple lessons on Puff Fox, and I go over this like a lot. Is that basically this is Puff's best position in the Fox matchup, and the reasoning is that like Fox has trouble sniping with the up air, because, you know, who knows what will happen if you try a full hop up air. You know, she'll go like that, or she just shields it, or something, or she does this and then grabs you.
Yeah.
Like, things can go really wrong when you up air on. So, and when you back air on, like, yeah, you'll get damage, but a lot of times it's not going to kill until high %, and she's safe from grab and up smash. So the side platform is kind of her safe haven in this matchup, and a lot of times she'll do something like this, because this gives her, like, this is like a full hop where she doesn't have to go up first. Because we already talked about...
Like, yeah, the cone. She just, like, becomes the cone when she wave dashes off.
Yeah, exactly. So she just gets the cone automatically, and she gets it from, like, shield drops and stuff, too. So so the wave dash off is, like, her primary method, and it's because she gets so much range out of it. She gets to here, and then if she combines that with the pound mix-up, which I always do a little late... oh my goodness. This one,
I get what you mean.
she gets really far. And so her primary spot to play will be here, and she's going to try to use this to push you into the corner.
Okay.
And that's something to be super aware of, is that, like, when she's up here, you don't really have a hard counter to that position. And a lot of times it ends up kind of being very mix-up-y, where, like, Fox wins the mix-up here by kind of crowding her. Because, like I said, she has trouble getting down. So you want to make it feel like it's hard to get down from here. And so Fox then... Because Fox doesn't want to be in the corner. Like, you don't want to be here, and then Puff does this, and you're running all the way into the corner, and then she either has a pound mix-up, or she can just stop and then pressure you. That's, like, what they want every time. And so... you are kind of motivated to be here and kind of pressure with, like, Cody will do a thing a lot where he'll do, like, dash this way, and then he'll dash this way and full hop back air to kind of, like, attack the position while moving himself, like, to the other side of the stage.
Okay.
And
I do that versus Yoshi, so I need to do this, I guess. I do that backer versus Yoshi.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, because Yoshi wants to move off the platform in the same way.
Okay,
and he also has
thing.
trouble getting there. Yeah, so that's a good connection to make.
Alright, sick.
The one thing that she has that you have to watch out for here is she'll do these. She'll do these up airs.
Okay.
And so you just have to watch out for these up airs. And this is just, like I said, this is her strongest position in the matchup, so she'll play it a lot. And so, like, you kind of... This is just what you're primarily going to be playing around, is, like, this mix-up. And when she's doing these up airs, a lot of times she gives up a lot of space, and then she's kind of in this spot where you're here and she's here, and she gets kind of, like, pressured and stuff like that. I'll go into it a little bit more later. But basically, this is, like, her spot that she's going to want to play off of, and you need to be, like, hyper-aware of this inner platform position that she's going to go for. Especially when she's at kill percent. Like, when she's at, like, 65 or something, they will play this position all day if they know what they're doing. Because they're not going to get killed by your up... And if they'll do this, and then you up smash, and then they get, like, that or something.
Oh, yeah. I can see it. I can see
yeah, you felt it.
I felt it so much.
Okay, so that's that. Okay, the other thing is all of her frame data is really bad. So, like, in terms of, like, shield pressure and stuff like that. So the majority of the time, if you are ever uncomfortable against Puff, you can just shield. Like, you can just shield, like, almost... If she's in the air, especially, shield beats every option she has. Almost. With the exception of one that I'll go over. But it beats pretty much everything, especially when she's at a range where she's, like, not able to do, like, a tomahawk, and she's just getting, like, the max range back air or whatever. You can just shield, and a lot of times you can just shine at a shield. And the thing is, you're not going to get a lot out of the shine at a shield. But what
I get her up hard. She just, like, goes away if I shine her.
You get, like, you get a lot of space. So you get a potential punish if she DIs bad. I'm sure you've seen Cody get shine at a shield, and then he'll do tech chase up smash. So you can get tech chases from it occasionally, but the most important use is you gain space, because even if you're, like, here, and she's in center, and she does this back air, and you shine at a shield, she's gonna be in the corner, and then you have center. So it's, like, a guaranteed, like, positional win for you. Then, so keep that in mind, that the center is really good. The shine at a shield kind of gives you the center. Even if you're here and she does this back air, you can just shine at a shield and she's sent off stage. Off stage is actually a really bad position for Puff in this matchup. And this is kind of, I think, the last major position I need to cover, is that when she is off stage out here, so this is kind of like that same thing, where, like, if Puff is, like, here, this is the laser zone, right? But if Puff is, like, here, don't jump up really high like this to laser, because and that's a really common mistake, because you jump up to laser and then she just meets you as you reach the ground.
Yeah.
So when she's high up, don't laser. Even when she's off stage, it's really important to keep that in mind. Unless she's, like, out here, you know, then feel free to laser, but just be very aware that she can, like, drift in very quickly from the high position. So then you don't really want to do the ledge grab back air stuff. I really don't. If she's doing this type of thing, there's the if she's doing this, there's the Armada where you do run up down tilt. So a lot of times you can sort of pressure her regrabs or, like, her low grab like that with a down tilt. But the majority of the time, I just let... It's kind of like Peach, where I just don't want Puff to get over me. And then, because if she gets over me, let's say you try to up smash, you're like, yeah! And then she just does this, and then she gets to come down. She has all kinds of nastiness right here.
Okay.
So you don't want to let her pass you. Just move. You can dash dance back or whatever. Let her back. It's okay. Let her to here. It's fine. Because when she's in the corner, she's in a bad position. So from this spot, you can kind of just back air a lot and kind of just zone her here. Like, just kind of hold her in the corner with back air. And you might not get, like, a whole stock out of it, but a lot of times you'll be able to get at least, like, 30 damage, which is quite a bit. Because, you shine her off, and then she kind of struggles to get back on, even if she does, like, a good ledge dash. She's kind of in a spot where, if she tries to jump to escape her situation, like, this whole jump that she's doing here is vulnerable to you back air walling. And then if she tries to go in like this, a lot of times, you're here, and she can just get, when Puff is approaching you, moving forward, she can get really vulnerable. You already know how to deal with that.
Yeah, I can just drill it in.
Okay, so I forgot. There's one more thing I need to go over, and this is the one thing that shield does not beat. And the good news about this is that HBox does not do this mix-up correctly.
I'm pretty sure I know what the mix-up is.
Yeah.
It's just like the low upper is like not indistinguishable
Yeah,
in reaction
yeah,
to like
yeah. So it's
grab.
fast fall grab out of the short hop. It's fast fall grab or slow fall up air. And you can't react to the fast fall grab in time to roll. So like, and then if you try to roll on reaction, you'll actually get hit out of your roll frames with the up air.
Wow.
So she has that mix-up, and that's why a lot of times she'll do this thing where she has... Actually, okay, there's one more thing I need to talk about before we get back to the matches. But she'll do this thing a lot where she kind of jumps in on you. Like, let's say you're here, and she'll kind of jump in, and then she has this versus that. And there's nothing you can do to really react to it. And so... But the good news is that to do it, she has to empty hop across this whole distance. And a lot of times during that time, when she does this empty hop... the short hop, empty hop, you can just like nair her or something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
And so
I get the clean 3-5.
So she a lot of times will be forced into doing kind of like this thing, and then she'll do kind of like her mix up here with this. So that is just kind of the general mix up of the matchup. Is like when she's doing these, you can actually CC it a lot of times at lower percents and kind of get her, but you just don't want to be so predictable that she gets like the tomahawk grab type thing. But that is like all she pretty much has. The only other thing I wanted to mention is that when Puff uses her double jump, you actually have a lot of time. Like the situation is entirely reset. And so like if Puff is here and her cone ends here or whatever, then like unless she does a high committal side B. And the nice thing about that is that if she's coming in for this back air and you shield, you'll also shield the side B and get like a free pressure. As long as you do it. As long as you shield late enough and not like so early that she reacts with a tomahawk grab.
Alright.
But basically the idea is that like if she's here and she's falling and you just position yourself outside of this cone, she doesn't have a way to actually hit you. And so a lot of times what she needs to do is extend the cone by jumping again. So by extending the cone, she's like, man, I can't hit here. But if I do this, now I can get all the way over to hit him. And so if you are ever out of her range, just be aware that like her only options are to back off, go for a crazy tomahawk gamble, side B, or double jump to get more height. And so you can kind of be reacting and waiting for those options, except for double jump. And then as soon as she does this double jump, like, look at this.
You can just run under her.
Yeah, so here's this, where she's like this. But then when she does this, look how long it takes to get down again. It takes forever to get down again. And she had to do that double jump to extend her cone. And so that is like pretty much every basic position in the matchup. So now that we went over those, we can go back to the matches, and I think we have a better framework kind of to go over the matches through.
Yeah.
Because I like some of the stuff you were doing in the first one, and then like I would see spots where I could point this out, and I was like, I just need to go over all of it first, and then kind of get into the examples. Okay, so let's see if we can find any examples of the stuff here. So, what's up?
Okay, I was just like typing stuff and I just finished stuff.
Okay, so you mess up the lasers. This full hop nair is okay, I guess.
There it happened. It happened right there, but also on the side flat. Right there?
Double jump? Yeah, so... Yeah, this was because, like, if she doesn't do a double jump here, she just has to, like, land somewhere, which is kind of, like, lame. So, like, she doesn't really want to do that. She kind of wants to, like, reset, so she a lot of times will use that double jump in that spot. So here's, like, another example. And so if you're watching the cone the whole time, a lot of these situations just become a lot easier to parse. So Puff does this double jump here, but if you think about it, the max range of her cone is, like, here. So... And you're too low of a percent for pound to work. So she doesn't have the pound mix-up, and she can't reach you with a back air. And that means you're completely safe here. Her only option is to double jump Waveland off this platform and hit you, or do a double jump. Like, she has to extend the cone somehow. Otherwise, she's just literally going to be landing here and getting hit by your lasers. So she actually doesn't have that many options in a spot like this. So she has to take this double jump. And knowing that she's in the spot where she kind of has to take the double jump, this can help you in the future. Because she can either do an instant aerial out of this double jump to read, like, let's say she thinks that you are going to react to deal with this double jump by instant full hop back airing. She could maybe do something where she does double jump instant fair or double jump instant back air right here. But if she does one of those and you didn't actually full hop, then she's in like a super vulnerable spot and she's going to get like whiff punish up air or back aired right here. You know what I mean? Where she does like poof.
Yeah.
And then she moves and you go, oh, easy punish. So just recognizing or trying to recognize that, like, oh, hey, this is like a spot where like her cone can't reach me. So I'm totally safe and she needs to go up here, and sort of taking advantage of that to either pressure her or get directly underneath her, you know? Because as soon as she does this, she can't do the instant aerial because, you know, you might still be lasering and then you'll just react. So a lot of times in this position, she can't really do the aerial because it's too easy to punish, and so she has to just move for a second with no aerials because she can't waveland off the plat or really double jump again or do much of anything if she's committed to her aerials. Even though she has all this aerial mobility, they still take a lot of time. And so that when each use of the aerial defines a lot of her potential options of where she can be, even though she has all this drift. So just a lot of times when you're in a position like that, you can almost be like, yeah, like I can kind of like hit her there, because unless she wants to gamble and throw out instant aerials right here, which maybe, you know, you hit her there 3 times and then the 4th time you bait out the instant aerial. But overall, it's like a very vulnerable position. And so from the Puff's perspective here, they're like, oh, I can't reach you, so I got some more height, and now that you're in my cone, I'm using this drift to kind of go in. And so this is the spot where you don't want to be lasering anymore. You want to be dash dancing or trying to get underneath Puff with an up tilt or shielding, etc.
Okay. Alright.
So you're kind of lasering here, which is fine for the most part. I would say while you are learning this matchup, so, okay, so this is like a little weird because, like, obviously you kind of need lasers against Puff, but I would say minimize your lasers while you're learning the spacing, because there's just so many ways to laser and then be out positioned. So it's kind of like when there's any relevant situation, you don't want to be lasering. You only really want to laser when Puff is kind of like hard camping, or because she's always trying to kind of get in on you because of the lasers. So like the fact that you have the lasers will pressure her to approach you, and it's just really important not to like laser and be like, you have to approach me, and then she does the thing you wanted, but you're still lasering, and then she hits you. Like, that's like the worst thing that you can do, basically. And so when she's really far and she's like irrelevantly far away, feel free to laser all you want. But anytime she's kind of in like a spot like this or whatever, I would say, especially like when she's in the corner and when you're on stage, I wouldn't. Yeah, like the dash dance is just a lot more powerful in a position like that, and that's a lot of times you won't. So you won't really see IBDW do that. The lasers in that position too often. He might sneak a few in here or there, but a lot of that is like nuance where he's just really used to the exact spacings involved. So like once you get a lot more practice and you're kind of at the point where it's really easy to identify like what Puff's options are from any given position, it's a lot easier to laser. But I just want you to avoid like overcommitting with laser as much as possible. So if it's kind of a questionable spot, I want you to dash dance instead. For now. So like right here or whatever, instead of doing these lasers and being like, oh, she's not close to me, I can get more lasers, it's like, well, you could have maybe gotten a Nair Bear or something here and gotten like literally 20 lasers ahead, you know? And so yeah, exactly. And so the problem with doing just lasers as your game plan and not the dash dance is that it's really easy to get pushed back by Puff. And this is sort of Puff's... Like, Puff really likes this. So look at kind of what happened here is Puff is at... What percent in the corner? Puff is at 14% in the corner. And you're at 2%. This is not good for Puff. Because you can kind of pressure her in this spot. And, you know, when she's just sitting here, maybe one short hop laser, then dash dance, you know? And then one more short hop laser, dash dance. And you're kind of just like, ugh. Like, she can't really move forward into you easily. And the platforms on Dreamland are really high also. So she just has trouble getting out of this spot in general. But because you're lasering... And the thing is like... The way Puff moves and kind of like squishes her body and stuff like that, it's hard to get a lot of lasers when you have to also worry about what's happening. Especially when you're doing like short hop double lasers like this. So basically, so you take the situation where you had 14 and she's in the corner, and now it's like she's at 23, so you did 9 damage, but now you're cornered and in danger. And so that's kind of the weakness of, like, the laser priority strat, despite it being so nice that, like, yeah, I totally have, you know, laser damage. So if you look at this from Amita's perspective, look at how long they take to actually get out of the corner. Like, they are not confident jumping over here just because they know about what Fox can do. So, like, just watch the Puff here. It's, like, not really committing, lots of wave dashes, not really committing, and then they actually give up enough space again. And so this is how hard Puff has to actually work to take the space. And Amita was kind of over-respecting the fact, like, over-respecting, you know, you because of Fox, like, what can Fox do? Whereas you were fully committed to lasering, and if Amita had known that, they could have just, like, you know, jumped over and hit you immediately.
Oh, I did it again!
Mm-hmm. And so, okay, so this is a good spot. So notice how difficult this position is for Puff when she's off stage from the shine. She has this awkward jump to ledge. I would not recommend going to the platform here. Okay. You want to cover it from the ground, because the issue is that if you're here and Puff does an invincible ledge dash, you can just move your dash dance back slightly and be in a good spot. Whereas if you're up here and she does an invincible ledge dash, you can either jump away and completely give up the situation, or fall on her, which is not typically recommended because you might get randomly up-aired, or she'll invincible ledge dash, wave dash back, and you drop a back air, and then she back throws you at 9 and takes her stock. But look at this desperate pound, you know, and then it's like, oh, easy back air. And then if you weren't doing these lasers, you would be in such a good spot. Like, watch, if you just kind of dash dance here instead of these lasers, like, you could just be hitting this, you know, with another back air. Yeah. And then Puff is almost at kill percent. And so, dude, look at this. You shine Puff from, like, all the way on the side of the stage, but because she can't roll in, because then she'll just get bodied by Fox. So she has to roll out, and then, oh, wow, I got center again. But you're just, like, flying all over the place shooting lasers instead of holding her in the corner. You did kind of hold her in the corner here, despite the lasers.
Yeah.
So this is, like, what Puff struggles with. It's like, oh, got hit there. And now Puff is at, you know, kill percent. And so what happened here was the Puff was kind of like, wait a minute, Fox in the corner. Maybe I can get something quick to, like, make up for the fact that I'm behind. And that's why, like, this up air comes out and stuff like that. It's kind of like a little bit of a desperation thing. And so, yeah, like, right here, it's kind of like, you don't need to go for this up smash.
Yeah,
Puff,
they were committed way too much.
Because, like, Puff is losing jumps. Like, they are losing resources when they do this. And so you'll get your chance, you know? And it's like, if Puff goes to the ledge, like, basically it's kind of like, what's better, gambling an up smash at 83 or getting a guaranteed easy kill at, like, 105 or something, you know? Like, you could, like, eventually just drop an up air on Puff, you know, and get a kill. Okay. Or you can still get an up smash, or you can get a back air kill at literally 160. But as long as you don't create bad positions for yourself, she doesn't really have good positions to fight Fox. Like, that's kind of the nature of Puff, is like, everything she does against Fox, with the exception of, like, 3 or 4 of these little mix-ups she has with like tomahawk and stuff, it's all just moving around and hoping that Fox gives a commitment. So you going for this up smash is like the only thing that can make you lose there. Like, you see that. Where, like, if you didn't go for this, Puff is struggling. They're at 83. You're at 30. They have to come back to the stage. You'll get a back here. A lot of times, them trying to push out of the corner is going to end up giving you the opening you want to kill them, like a jab up smash or something. Mm-hmm. But going for this commitment gives the Puff the ability to come back. Okay, up smash. Nice. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that was good.
Yeah, I did the backer. The Yoshi backer.
So, this is just... You're not pressuring enough with the dash dance here. Because you're kind of taking the mindset that, like, Puff needs to approach you. Which is okay. But I want you to, like, go one level past that. Where you're like, I'm here, I'm chilling, I'm not in danger until Puff approaches me. You can get a little closer and create a situation where Puff is scared to even try approaching you. If you're dash dancing a little bit, it creates like the feeling from the Puff that like they can't even like push in. Because so think of it as like you're like, when Puff tries to break in, I'm at an advantage, you know? But like you can get a whole second layer where like I'm at an advantage when Puff is even trying to break in. Then, if Puff finally makes it past all of my threats, mental barriers, everything, Puff finally gets in, then you can fight the "oh, Puff is coming in on me" game. So it's like you have this whole second advantageous game you can play before the advantageous game. Does that make sense?
Yeah, just like giving them a reason to be like scared, and I just can hit them trying to like get into the space.
Yeah, because basically right here, you're like, I'm going to laser, and then you need to approach me or you'll take laser damage. And then the Puff is like, okay, I'll approach, and then you fight it out. But if you were like kind of dashing here and making Puff scared, you know, maybe Puff full hops this way, and then you're in here and you get full hop double laser, and then you're dash dancing again, and then Puff tries to come in and you're kind of dash dancing, they move away again, and, you know, their situation can get bad really quickly, but you need to like kind of pressure a little bit, whereas like, if you look at this from the Puff's perspective, there aren't any threats from Fox here once you leave. Yeah. And it's purely like, okay, Fox is going to double laser and full hop laser, and I just need to find a tricky way in. And that's kind of like how they get this back air on you. Is they're like, oh, I'm coming in. But then look, when you do this dash dance, Puff doesn't want to come in. So they change their mind and just leave again. And so when they leave... You can just be like, oh, you left? Okay, I'll shoot 2 more lasers, and then dash dance again. And they're like, like, you know, you can kind of...
Actually, I visualize it so well now, okay. It's like the Mango Sane thing, where Mango just dash dances and Sane just runs away. That's like the thing I'm visualizing. Just like dashing in, Puff, oh no, I'm scared. And just like shoot laser, and then run in again.
And it's really prevalent against Puff too. And it's because they have to avoid those full hop aerial, the full hop nair, bear, and up air. And so your dash dance, it just feels scary because she can't go in because, you know, going in against Fox is kind of scary. And she can't just kind of hang out right next to going in because you might hit her, and that's what the dash dance is threatening. So then she wants to move away, and when she's moving far away from you, then you're lasering, and you're like, hey, you got to come back, you know? And that kind of sets up like a lose-lose-lose for her, where she's like, man, none of these options are good. And so that's why, like, in a spot like this, you chase her back, and then right here. So I still don't like this laser here because you haven't confirmed that Puff is not coming in. If she just jumped up and did a short hop aerial on you, you would have gotten hit for this. And so it's like, it's okay to just dash dance and play Puff like she's a normal character sometimes. And doing these lasers just kind of allowed this free approach, which is why you got hit there. Oh, but like, look at this. When you're doing the dash dance, this back air she has is not so free, because yeah, she's a lot of times going to do this like back air and then drift back, but maybe you CC it and you get a free punish. CC is really good against Puff, by the way.
Okay.
But like maybe you CC it and you punish, or maybe you're already about to just jump in before her back air even comes out. It's like frame 12 or something. It takes forever. So she's kind of afraid of a lot of things, which is why she starts her back air a little later, and you just like nair through it. You're like, oh, nice. Yeah, so this is what the pressure is, but these lasers aren't worth it because Puff is already coming in on you. Once Puff is already on her way in, just fight her without lasers, because otherwise you get put in that awkward spot. So notice that when you're in close right here, like, these nairs are kind of good. You know? Like, she might be able to do some sort of wave dash crouch nonsense here, but a lot of times that's not super dependable for her, which is why she doesn't want to be on the ground next to Fox. Like, if you play Puff and you get on the ground next to Fox, it's really easy as a Fox main who doesn't have a lot of time against Puff to be like, oh man, anything I do, she's just ready to rest it, you know? And then from the Puff end, you're like, I'm going to pick 1 out of 20 options, hope he does that, and then I can rest it. If not, I get hit, you know? So it's a little bit of a different feeling from both ends. Okay, so this is perfect right here. So look at your movement here and how this pushes Puff into the corner. Like, Puff is not going to, like, meet you here and come in when you're approaching. So you successfully push Puff back. You know, now maybe you get 2 lasers and now Puff is at up throw up air percent. Because they committed so heavily to being in this, like, heavily defensive, kind of disadvantageous corner position back here, you know? So this corner position happened because Puff was thinking you were going to nair in again. So watch this right here.
Here?
Yeah. So watch this. Puff moves away and wave dashes away because they think you're going to, like, nair into where they were, and they might get a grab here. And then they see you dashing in here, so they wave dash away again right here because they think you might land in front of them and give them a back throw. That is like what this motion is for, and that's why this dash dance is so powerful, because now that Puff she has no cone, she's on the ground. If she was up here, you'd have to worry, but she's down here, she has no cone, she's far away, she has no inward momentum. That's a nice couple clean lasers right here. And then, so Puff will be like, oh, I need to come in. And she'll come in and she'll kind of get lasered right here. You got a couple lasers, and now she's here, and now you're dash dancing again. And she's like, I guess I'll go back. And you're like, laser, laser. And then she's like, I guess I should go in again, you know? And you kind of have like that repeating pattern that you can kind of do on her. And you're kind of doing it right there.
Yeah,
just
right
sort
there.
of by chance. By chance,
yeah.
Just like kind of player intuition, you're able to kind of do that. This is one thing, though, is like, you got to be careful running under her double jumps like this when she does a double jump really close to the ground, because it doesn't extend her reach much, but it gives her really close, like, timing with the ground. So that's just kind of why you got hit here. But the thing is most of the time, it's okay. Like, Puff can't, like, unless she
doesn't get anything, right?
Unless she gets a grab or an up air, she doesn't really get anything, or an edge guard. Like, as long as you're not getting hit by those things, like, she's kind of in a bad spot. And yeah, there you go. That was good. That was actually, like, literally probably the perfect thing to do there.
I was just abusing the fact he doesn't know, like, he gonna slide off a down throw just then, so I just did it.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like a confusing spot because Puff is going to be holding in on the up throw.
Yeah.
Or maybe Puff would be holding out on the up throw there, so I don't even know. Maybe
Yeah,
back throw up air there would have been better. I don't know. Regardless, it's fine. It's fine. It worked. It's okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, you got to watch out for these nairs. This is like the nair that Puff wants out of you, is like that. And so it's kind of like, was Puff already on the ground here? And it's like, nah, I back aired Puff. Puff is in the air. Doing a read on their landing is not going to work as if they're like a grounded character. Because, like, my Puff wouldn't have even been here. My Puff, I would have double jump wave landed here, and then I would have done like a drop tomahawk or an up air here on this missed nair. So you just have to be careful. Like, if you hit Puff, and Puff is in the air, and it's not like, you know, forward momentum nair, like, it's not a true combo, don't go for it. Just dash dance again. Puff will usually wave dash back to it, or like move back to try to get this like nair grab thing, and then you have a good position again.
Okay. And just repeat the mix up between like dash dancing and shit?
Yeah, so the thing with Puff is, like, Puff is really, really simple, obviously. But she's, like, really simple to the point where, like, almost every neutral situation, like she has situations where she hard wins, and then outside of those hard win spots, she only has like one or two ways to actually like interact in neutral where she's not massively at disadvantage. So a lot of times against Puff, it comes down to like she has 2 or 3 mini games, and you kind of just have to win those mini games enough times to win the match. So you don't really want to play into like weird chaotic situations because you don't need to. A lot of times Puff is just going to play like really simple, and you just have to be able to beat those really simple positions. Let's see. So like right here, Puff is going for these aerials. This is just a really common nair that you'll kind of get used to the more you play against Puff. The reason you don't jump in here is because, so this nair does 9 damage, which allows Puff to then maybe get like an up throw rest or one more aerial and up air will knock down. And so a lot of times, it's really common when Fox is at 0 that Puff will go for these falling nairs because she just needs the one hit. Like, she can't combo you to death from this percent anyway, from 0. So a lot of times she's just going for the nair clip. So whenever you're like at 0, 0, like literally 0, you need to be a little bit more... It's kind of like, you know, most of the time this nair does nothing. And at 0, it still does nothing by itself, but it's kind of like it takes away a lot of the advantage you have by being at 0.
Okay.
Because if you don't get hit by this nair, rest doesn't work, up air doesn't really work, like none of her moves knock down. She needs this early damage to sort of even think about doing like up throw tech chase rest. Like if she up throw tech chase rest you at 0, you're literally gonna live. So at 0, be really aware of these little stray hits and play kind of extra safe or just kind of chip on her.
Okay. Just like not interact with it.
Yeah. Just be really aware that she's looking for stray hits at low percent.
Okay.
Like she kind of went for it again on this like nair. This wasn't a great nair.
That one, okay.
Yeah.
Almost got it.
And you're doing okay here, but just remember to dash dance in this spot, like right here.
Yeah, I need to do more dash dances.
And yeah, you did calm down. You don't need this up air.
Yeah. I'm like, I want to hit her.
Like, this matchup is a slow grind towards victory. Think of it almost like, I don't know, let's see, what's another matchup that's kind of like this?
Stamina, somewhat? Which is like beta F tilt and shine it?
So, it's a little, this is like a strange matchup where basically you have to play all the time. Like, play all the time as if it's like a slow victory. Like every day, like every hour, you take $1 from Puff's bank account, and you're like, oh, it's no big deal, right? But then every day you're taking the $1, it starts adding up, you know?
Okay. All right.
Or every hour you're taking the $1. So
it's a process.
So you have to be ready to play that game, because if the Puff is just like, let's say, you know, the Puff has just given up on all fun and enjoyment and everything, and they're like, I don't care if I lose. All of these matches are timing out, you know? You don't want to lose to that person who's just down to play the super slow game, and you get desperate. And that's how a lot of Foxes who don't have experience in the matchup ends up losing, is they're like, they'll be up like 4 stocks to 2, and the Puff starts camping, and they're like, why are you camping me? I'm ahead. But they don't really know how to play the slow game, and so they end up just jumping in and throwing out moves and then dying.
I felt like literally describes spot on with that.
Describes who?
Me.
Oh. And so every time you play a Puff, you need to be like, so the kind of noob way to play against Puff is you're like, get her to up throw up air percent, grab up throw up air, right? That's kind of like the easiest possible game plan against Puff, and it's the way I teach kind of worse players to deal with Puff when they're sort of at like a beginner or like lower level, because like that is a nice clear game plan that will get you kills, especially against worse Puffs. But as you're better at the game, you're playing against better Puffs, they're not going to allow it that often. It's kind of like maybe like how you should be down to kill a lot of characters on damage, but then sometimes you get a nice early shine spike. Like against like Peach maybe, where like sometimes you kill Peach off of like an early shine, but like the majority of the time it's gonna be off like an up smash or like an up air. And so every time you play a Puff, I want you to be like, I am literally gonna be down for like the longest, most grindy, like slow marginal victory ever. And then while you are playing the slow marginal victory, you keep an eye out for easy early kills. So rather than being like, I'm going to kill Puff with grab, up throw, up air every percent, you're like, I'm down to go to 160 and kill with back air. Like every stock, like you should be down for that. But if you find a moment to get jab up smash, raw up smash, or up throw up air, or you know something else where you get like a drop up air or whatever, then that you can take those when you see them, but they need to be kind of like an extra little treat. And it can't be like, if I don't get the early kills on Puff, I'm freaking out, you know? Because that's what I kind of noticed on you, is Puff is at like 80, and you're like, if I don't kill her now, she's going to live super long. But you need to be down to beat the Puff, who lives long every stock.
Okay.
And then just when you get the little snipe, the early grab, whatever, then you can take it, and that's just like an extra, you know, punch in the gut for the Puff.
Yeah.
But it can't be like the norm where you're like, this is how I beat Puff, is I up smash at 75 or whatever. Like, you will get baited, you will get desperate, and you will, you know, miss a lot of stuff because of that.
Okay.
So somehow we're already at an hour. That was like the fastest hour ever.
Yeah, it was super fast.
Like, I cannot believe that was an entire hour of talking about Fox Puff, because I'm like, all right, that's chapter 1, we're getting into the good stuff. I'm like, oh, that's an hour. Like, that's crazy. But we went over a lot.
Yeah, that was a lot.
So
I'm starting to understand why when I was like in America, most people told me I was like super easy to hit, because I just like do this in every matchup.
Like you're just looking for the win rather than like preventing the loss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like that's like also like linked to like my scene, because I just nair in and win. So
I agree. I think something I was going over with a friend of mine who I'm helping like kind of tutor in the game is like, you need to be able to play against bad players just the same way you play against good players.
Yeah.
And that is like a really difficult challenge, but it's the only way to practice for good players while playing bad players. And a lot of times it'll make them like seem better, where you're like, man, like, why am I giving this person all this respect when I know that they're vulnerable to me nairing in? And it's like, well, because you're gonna win anyway, but one way is useful, and one way is easy. And it's like, you can kind of choose between those, but the useful way is the way that you're going to get better from doing.
I feel that, because I'm starting doing that, and I was like, dude, how the fuck I'm giving so many openings just because I'm just dashing in front of him. Kind of like force a mix-up, and they just like nair in us, like, come on.
Nah, it's definitely difficult to get better against players a lot worse than you, but that is... what you gotta do when you're in a region like that.
I'm getting better though at it.
No, I mean, you're definitely improving. I like your trajectory right now, and a lot of it is just like things you literally just don't know, and then like I'll tell you, and you're like, oh, and then you just like bop people. So
yeah, it's kind of like the Peach thing. We're just totally thing, and I just took it in from polish. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, no, exactly. And then you're like, oh, I'm beating all the peaches. Like, let's go.
I'm doing super well.
I
can JV5 people now. I feel like I'm super bad at JV5ing people too. Just because I just want to run in.
JV5ing is like irrelevant. I've only done one JV5 in my entire career.
I got more on you. I did with my Puff.
I always get tapped somehow. Like 4 stocks to 1, 0%, and I'm like, oh, is this the JV? And I'll laser, and they just power shield it back, and I'm like, no!
That happens every fucking time.
No, my only JV ever in my JV5 ever in my entire career was against my friend who mains Zelda, and I played Falco. Back before I mained Falco, I played Falco against his Zelda, and it was on FD.
Oh my!
That's
how you did it.
Yeah, that's my only JV ever, and I'm proud of it. and the guy's like a casual player. But all right, man. I think this was definitely a very information-heavy lesson, and I think you'll be able to get a lot from it. Hopefully,
I literally have like 40 lines, just like notes.
Okay, sick.
So I'm gonna do a lot of this stuff. I just like pass stuff from other matchups to this one, because I do like those dash dances for Marth. I do like most of the laser stuff, like in other matchups, like Yoshi.
Mm-hmm.
Or just like passing stuff over that I didn't know was good.
I see. Okay, yeah. So there's definitely a lot you can apply even beyond the Puff matchup from this then. Okay, that's sick. Yeah, good luck with the improvement. Let me know how it goes or anything comes up.
I'll let you know.
Yeah, good talking with you again, man. I'll talk to you later. Peace.
Talk to you later. I'll PayPal you the 50.
So. Yeah, sure. Got it. All right, peace.
All right, see ya.